You've done this before. The same argument, the same person, the same ending. You told yourself last time was the last time. It wasn't. Here's the uncomfortable part. You're not doing this because you're weak or broken or bad at learning from your mistakes. You're doing this because your brain has a trick built into it, one so old and so effective that it doesn't even feel like a trick while it's happening. It feels like a choice. It isn't. Stay with me for the next 2 minutes, because once you see this pattern, you cannot unsee it. Not in your relationships, not in your habits, not in the job you keep almost quitting, not in the version of yourself you keep almost becoming. Let's start with a question. Why does a slot machine work better than a vending machine? A vending machine gives you exactly what you paid for, every time. Predictable, boring. You use it, and you move on with your day. A slot machine gives you nothing, and then, out of nowhere, something. And that unpredictability is not a flaw in the design. It is the entire design. In the 1950s, a psychologist named B.F. Skinner ran an experiment that quietly explains almost every bad habit you've ever had. He trained pigeons to peck a lever for food. One group got food every single time they pecked. Simple, predictable. And here's the twist. Those pigeons pecked the least. Another group got food only sometimes, on no fixed schedule at all. Sometimes one peck worked. Sometimes it took 50, and that group pecked obsessively. Even after the food stopped coming entirely, they kept pecking, far longer than the group that had been rewarded every time. Skinner called this variable reinforcement, and it is, without exaggeration, one of the most powerful behavioral forces ever documented. Your brain doesn't crave certainty. It craves the maybe. Think about the last time you kept checking your phone even though nothing important was happening. Nobody trained you to do that with a treat. You trained yourself, one unpredictable notification at a time, exactly like Skinner's pigeons. Now here's where it gets personal. That same maybe is why you kept texting someone who only sometimes texted back with the warmth you wanted. It's why you stayed at a job that occasionally, unpredictably, made you feel valued, just often enough to keep you from leaving. It's why you keep returning to a habit that only sometimes actually makes you feel better. If it worked every time, you'd get bored of it. The same way those pigeons got bored of guaranteed food. It's the unpredictability itself that has its hooks in you. But that's only half of the trick. The second half is even stranger, and it goes back further than Skinner's pigeons. It goes back to the earliest relationships you ever had. A researcher named Mary Ainsworth studied how infants bond with their caregivers, and she found something that doesn't stop mattering once you grow up. Children don't just bond with caregivers who are warm and consistent. They bond, powerfully, with whatever pattern of care they actually received, warm or not. A child raised by an unpredictable caregiver doesn't learn to avoid unpredictability. They learn that unpredictability is what love looks like. That chasing, waiting, hoping, that specific emotional rhythm becomes the blueprint for connection itself. So decades later, an adult raised in that pattern doesn't necessarily seek out kindness. They seek out familiarity. And a nervous system doesn't actually know the difference between familiar and good. It only knows the difference between familiar and unfamiliar. Unfamiliar registers as dangerous even when it's safe. Familiar registers as safe even when it's painful. This is why a person who grew up with emotional inconsistency can walk right past a calm, steady relationship and feel almost nothing. No spark, no pull. It doesn't match the internal blueprint. And then they meet someone unpredictable, someone who runs hot and cold, and their whole body lights up. Not because it's good for them, because it's recognizable. Your brain isn't optimized to make you happy. It's optimized to keep you alive. And for most of human history, predicting the people around you correctly was a survival skill. Familiarity meant you understood the rules. Understanding the rules meant you could protect yourself. So your brain built a shortcut. Familiar equals safe. Full stop, no further questions asked. That shortcut still runs today. Even though the stakes have completely changed, you are not in physical danger anymore. But the ancient wiring doesn't know that. It just recognizes the shape of something it has seen before and pulls you back toward it, again and again. Put these two mechanisms together, and you get something close to a perfect trap. Variable reinforcement makes the inconsistency itself addictive. Attachment patterning makes that same inconsistency feel like home. You're not repeating the mistake because you failed to learn the lesson. You're repeating it because two separate ancient systems in your brain are quietly agreeing that this, specifically this, is what safety and reward are supposed to feel like. Here's a small experiment to try. The next time you feel a powerful pull towards something that has hurt you before, pause and ask one question. Not, do I want this? But, is this actually familiar? 9 times out of 10, the pull you're calling desire is actually recognition. And recognition, on its own, was never proof that something is good for you. It's only proof that you've been here before. So what actually breaks the pattern? Not willpower. Willpower is trying to out-argue a reflex, and reflexes don't listen to arguments. What breaks it is exposure to a new pattern, held long enough for your nervous system to slowly relearn what safe actually feels like. That's uncomfortable, on purpose. Consistency will feel boring at first, the same way Skinner's guaranteed food pigeon stopped bothering to peck. Your body has to sit inside something steady long enough to realize steady isn't the same thing as nothing happening. That discomfort is not a sign you're doing it wrong. It's a sign the old blueprint is finally being challenged. You didn't choose the wiring you were given. Nobody does. But you're not stuck reading from a blueprint you never agreed to. The pattern was built once, by circumstances you didn't control. It can be rebuilt, slowly, by circumstances you do.